Welcome back. It's now 10 minutes. How the time just flies by. And yeah, you are tuned into Salam Media. This is Friday Night Live with me, ST, and Thaakir Dawood, my co host. And yeah, so we are coming to you live from our headquarters right here in Johannesburg. And to all those who are listening in via the various platforms, be it YouTube, be it Facebook, as well as those out in Durban on 90.4 FM and 105.6 FM, respectively, out in PMB on Radio Al Ansar. Good evening to one and all. And if we have been tuned in, we're hoping you're enjoying the show as much as we are as well. There's been so much on the show this evening. We spoke to Banyana Captain Janine van Wyk. What a informative discussion and what a great motivation she was. Indeed, Thaakir, hoping you're good there with your Spirivet Meer aan die agterkant.
Yeah, right to the other side of the studio, eh? Yes, see. So close,
Yeah,
but
I
so
see
far
that.
away.
Right? Clearly, you are on the other end of, so you on the receiving end. Yeah, I see. All right, fantastic.
Yeah, just
Right,
taking
so
social distancing
now
to a whole new level.
what I wanted to talk now about is something new. We are creating a whole new segment. It's called, we haven't yet even named this segment yet, but tonight we feature a fantastic guest. No stranger to many people around. Obviously, I've had the honor of seeing one of his performances here in Johannesburg at the Sabri Chisti banquet. I think it was last year sometime, or it was the year before, but it was right here, not too far from our studios. Yeah, man, this guy can really make you rip. Not rip you off, but hey. Anyway, we leave that to him. Carvin Goldstone, good evening to you, and thanks for taking the time. Welcome to Salam Media.
Hi, gentlemen. How are you doing this evening? I must say
Um,
I'm in Durban, but I'm not in Durban. I live just outer west, and it's as cold as like people don't understand it. Can you get cold here? It is so cold. I got my
yeah,
bafana
well, here
bafana
in
jacket on.
Johannesburg, it's rough. Right? I mean, right here in Joburg, it's rough, as I would say, with the cold. Hey, Thaakir, I mean, we've had a cold front similar to that of Cape Town, what I'd call a black southeaster. But yeah,
Whoa.
it was hell of a hectic. Now, talk to us a bit before we continue a bit further. Carvin Goldstone, right, guy from Durban. Look, I must say, I really enjoyed your performance in Johannesburg. It was, I'm already
Thank you,
laughing
man.
because just reflecting about, just your charisma, yeah, you make the O's crack, man. But take us through, for those who don't know, Carvin Colston, and for the first timers who are seeing you, I mean, no stranger to those in Durban, but yeah, who's exactly Carvin Colston?
Well, yeah, I'm a Durbanite in every
Okay.
way and form that you can think of.
Mm.
I
All
bargain.
right.
I live by the beach, but I
Yeah.
don't go. I wear clothes, full clothes to the beach.
Yeah.
You find me at the beach
Yeah.
with jeans and socks. I wear white socks.
Okay.
I do all the
Yeah.
things that you think of
Yeah.
Durbanites. I eat biryani, and then I eat a pani
No
chow
way.
after biryani, and then soji
Yo.
after that. I
Yes.
am
When's the
through
daughters
and through.
coming?
There's nothing about being a Durbanite that I'm not. And I'm also mixed.
Right.
I'm a completely mixed Durbanite. So I'm Zulu in some parts. I'm Indian in some parts. I'm colored in in many parts because of the mixing.
So
I'm Muslim
mixed
in some
masala,
parts.
yeah,
So,
eh? Yo, yo.
yeah, it's all over, all over. Every piece of it's in the mix. Yeah.
No, lovely, man. Right. So you obviously have quite a large following. And when did your, big break come in the entertainment industry, as per se? And I mean, a guy from Dubs hitting it, making it big out in the media and entertainment industry, respectively, etc. When did your journey all begin, man?
Well, okay, so I'll take you back maybe to when I was about 18, 19. I was studying
All
journalism,
right.
and then I had my first
Mhm.
job. I was a journalist at the Mercury newspaper in Durban. So for people in
Okay.
Johannesburg, it's the morning paper, same company as the Star. And
Oh, okay.
while I was there, I started fiddling with music. I was a rapper for about 2 years. And then I was a journalist, hardcore journalist. ENCA,
Mhm.
Independence on Saturday, the Saturday paper, the Mercury.
Yeah.
for the Sunday Tribune, and then I got when I moved over to ENCA, I started fiddling with comedy because I do impersonations. That was my sort of thing. And
Your
then while I was
thing,
doing that was my thing. And then while I was doing impersonations, people started saying to me, "Well, in the office, you need to just start taking this more seriously. Journalism can only pay so much." I don't have to tell.
Okay.
I don't have to tell anyone who's worked in journalism or radio or anything.
No, well,
It looks so
I'm
glamorous,
laughing.
but these guys, they all need any donations you want to send to these two hosts, please, listeners, don't be shy.
Yes, it looks like we need to find a new
open your
job,
heart.
bro. Carvin, are you looking for any assistance by any chance, mate?
No, I'm not looking for assistance. I'm trying to be here for you guys. I'm trying to show support for you.
So how smooth has that?
No,
How smooth has that
start the
transition been
show.
from journalism to comedy? And how did you manage to integrate the two?
Well, technically, they're both storytelling, right? Especially my type of comedy. It's very much story-based. So if you come to a show, you might be...
the one is facts-based.
Well, they're both fact-based, right? In my case, well, most of my comedy is based on my family or lived experiences. So in journalism, you go to a story, you get the information, and you report. In comedy, you live an experience, you interpret it in a funny way, and you tell it back to people.
Yeah.
I usually tell the stories back as they happen. They don't all get onto the stage.
Sure.
Oh well. Now I want to move on to other talking points, right? You mentioned your background, so there's a lot of mixed masala, as you mentioned, going on then being a Durbanite. Now, where do you draw some of your inspiration? I mean, you mentioned one part being coming from the media space, journalism, impersonations. But I mean, surely there's more to that. I mean, you don't just come in and want to impersonate Obama or Donald Trump, and then you're gonna being a comedian, you got to have that drive and that motivation. What's some of the inspiration for you? I mean, what gets you going?
Well, for me, it's not so much. You'll seldom find me doing anything political in the comedy space because the comedy that I do is very community driven. So, who's my inspiration? It's everyday people. It's everyday interactions. I do regular characters on my Facebook page, Carvin H Goldstone, the comedian page. If anyone wants to check it out, and my characters are all people that I've actually met in real life. I got a character, an old Indian uncle from Durban. I go, Jaggy, hey, you're doing all right. You're looking very well there. Like an old uncle. I've got a white lady. I live in Hillcrest, so she's just from around the corner. Her name's Karen, and she's complaining to Woolworths about their biryani because Woolworths not supposed to be selling biryani, but that's another story. And I've got all these different characters that are influenced and they draw from real people that I've met in my lifetime. So even when I do a comedy skit, and someone will say, hey, you did that uncle or that auntie just right. It's because that person exists for real. I actually met them.
It's not like you just came here with some made-up story.
No, it's not a generic.
I think,
sometimes when you're watching, you see a generic voice or generic accent, and you're like, yeah, it's kind of. But when you got someone actually that you mimicking, like you full character, it's hard to ignore it. Like say, no, that was cool. I know that person. I know that uncle.
So now, with the transition, obviously, how was it? Do you find it difficult? And what inspiration do you have for the youngsters out there that expect things to happen just like that overnight? I mean, how did you manage to stay driven, stay motivated, stay wanting to push yourself to the next level at all times?
Yeah, I think you have to stay innovative, stay ahead of the curve. You always fall behind the curve. As soon as you figure out the space, you're on stage, something else pops up. And then you're behind the curve. So the social media space has been tricky for a lot of people. A lot of comedians are struggling to transition from the stage to the screen, the small screen. And then what you have is you have a whole lot of social media content creators, little social media stars who do funny videos. And they're not necessarily stand-up comedians, but they're the next wave. And so you have to see the wave before it hits. Like you had theater performers where you go to a theater and you watch a production. And then stand-up comics came. And then all of a sudden people were buying tickets to stand-up comedy and not so much to theater. And theater people have all the skills to do comedy, but they couldn't see the wave was like the next wave was hitting. And likewise, the next wave of online entertainment has hit. And a lot of stand-up comics haven't figured it out. So all your favorite comics that you think of, that you've been watching, how many of them have online content that understand the online space? You can tune into their page any day and you find some, not many, because that new wave of people, they completely, like, they're just doing it as they feel it. So it's about staying. Anyone who wants to become a funny person now, you don't have to necessarily find a stage to do it. You got your phone, you got YouTube, you got your granny and your auntie on your Facebook page. Do the jokes for them. Start there.
But in saying that, your stage performances and obviously being booked for events as your main source of income during lockdown and COVID-19 hitting South Africa, how have you adapted and adjusted to the tough times and circumstances so that you still don't lose out on income and you can still put food on the table at home?
No, I'm broke. No adjusting, it's over.
Look who was talking about donations. He first intros us with, we want to help you guys. And
anyone out there who wants to give me a job, I am available. I'll tell jokes at your workplace. I'll come to your workstation, and you can just send me around the office as people are working. Hey, and I'll just tell a quick joke. Like a magician, do a quick close-up magic. I'll come tell close-up jokes. No, I'm joking. So what's happened is we've had to transition even more into online space. Fortunately for me, I'd already started working quite a bit in online videos and stuff. So I've been offering online hosting, virtual hosting. So like something like this, where you'd host a show or you'd host a meeting or you'd host a conference. I did some product launches. I did the new Huawei P40 launch for Vodacom. That's like a international launch. I do online shows, online comedy shows. They're strange and bizarre, but I've done a few. And it's just weird because you tell jokes to nobody. So you have to kind of laugh at your own joke. Just to fill the gap for your rhythm.
Now, I want to ask something, right? Regarding your 2018 achievement, South African Comic of the Year, 2018 Flying Solo Comedian of the Year. I mean, some of your reflections on that and on that milestone and achievement for you.
Well, I think in South African comedy, a lot of people don't realize that we have a very good pool of comedians. We have a very good pool of thinking comedians. And my fortunate thing is 2018 was the year I started traveling the world extensively. So in 2015, I started traveling Australia, New Zealand. 2016, I continued. But 2017, 2018, I did world tours. And then I started I did shows Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, Indonesia, the whole of Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam. That was an interesting one, Vietnam. And so when I got back, I think a lot of comedians realized somehow that, wow, it's not just, go to Joburg, go to Cape Town, go to Durban, the odd show in Bloemfontein. They realized that you can now, whole world is available and there's comedy all over the world. And so the comedians kind of vote for you in that situation. The comedians of South Africa vote for that title. So there's no like panel, there's no, voting system by the public. It's purely your peers that we vote for. Like the peers kind of assess who they felt maybe was the most inspirational for that year. So I think in some ways, achieving that was about the inspiration that many of them felt from seeing what was possible.
Now, you mentioned obviously touring the world, right? Now, how is a South African comedian received? Like you mentioned, Vietnam was interesting. I want to touch on it. I mean, you go there, they might not understand, Afrikaans so lekker or whatever the case is. I don't know. Zulu, for example. How do they take towards, I mean, let's say a young oak here is listening and streaming and he's like, hey, you know what? Next year's my year, man. I'm eating it there. I'm flying. I'm eating it to Taiwan, and I'm gonna make the Owens laugh. All right. Okay. How are you gonna be received if you go to?
Well, firstly, like if you're a young comedian and you're planning on going anywhere next year, just delay that plan. I don't think we're going anywhere next year.
I was trying to be hopeful and give people hope.
I got promoters in Asia, and we had a Skype conversation in the last week. And we were discussing how a lot of it's actually one of the promoters said to me he's going into organic farming because it's just like it's not viable at the moment. So if you're a young performer and you're looking at what you can do and how you can get into those spaces for young South African performers, I wouldn't advise like the cost or the possible return for a performer without a name is not very good. You'll end up spending most of the money while you're there. So you have to kind of build up your name, and then they'll come look for you. Like in my case, I didn't actually ask to go to those places. They came to look for me and invited me to those countries. And when I got there, a part of the reason they invited me was because they had a demand from South Africans that live in those places to bring, because they bring comedians, right? They bring comedians from the UK and Europe or whatever. And a lot of the promoters said to me, we brought you because the people that live out here asked for you, can we please bring this person over? And so the traveling, I learned to adjust. I write very quickly. I think that's part of being a journalist in my past life. So when I arrive, I start writing. So I perform some of the same stories, but I write for the country when I arrive.
You know, interesting. You mentioned these points regarding being a comedian and traveling to this part of these different regions of the world, taking your daily inspiration. Right. People are tuned in and listening in them. They want to laugh, but right. I'm gonna hand it over to you, my man, for a few minutes. Take it over. I won't lie. This man is Hot Stuff, guys. If you've just tuned in, it's 5 minutes after 10. Carvin Goldstone is live with us right here on Salam Media. An honor to have the man here. I won't lie, I was laughing myself sick here in the Unisa Center in Robertsham with it, fundraising dinner. Yo, bruh. Starts off with the dull and sinkers and then hey, but he was hectic. But anyway, it's all yours, my man.
Okay, maybe what I'll do is I'll tell some of the stories I told there, because you already you already know them. One of the things I was talking about was, especially when you grow up in Durban. Now, you guys know, well, at least I hope that when you don't drink alcohol, and I don't drink alcohol, there's always people that are around you that want to question you. Why you don't drink? Have a drink. Come have a drink. And then you try to explain, no, I don't drink. Now, in your case, maybe you say, I'm Muslim, and they're like, okay, leave you alone. But in my case, if I don't have a good religious reason to back up why I don't drink, then they continue pushing you. Come on, man, have a dop. Have a dop. And I live in Durban. People, when they say have a drink, they always try to make it sound more exciting than it is. Come on, we're gonna go, we're gonna have a dop now, and we're gonna get, and they use strange words. Hey, we're gonna get nice and paralytic drunk. I'm like, that don't sound like fun.
Yeah,
that's not even a nice thing to say. Hey, come on, let's go dop. We're gonna get nice and thick. That's a common word out here. We're gonna get thick, and I'm like, thick. I don't want to get any thicker than I am. I'm at my thickest. I can't get thicker than this. And one of the common ones, my family's from Phoenix in Durban, and they'll say to me, hey, Carvin, hey, come have a dop with us, man. Hey, come dop. And my uncle say, we're gonna get luck up, we're gonna get nice and tananas. And I'll be like, what? So we can get tananas. Uncle, what does that mean?
Tananas.
Yeah, what does it mean? He says, no, it means that you're stupid lighty this, man. Well, I said, but uncle, what does it mean? He says, no, it means that it means you tananas. I said, but where does the word come from? Who's the first uncle to use it? Because slang, we speak slang. Slang comes from somewhere, right? Who's the first uncle that comes over drunk from the bar, walks in the house, his wife is waiting for him in her wife waiting clothing, which is the nightie, the nightie with a rainbow and a teddy bear. I love you, and even the teddy bear standing there with its arms, hands, and its hips. So where you come from? And then men. The first thing they try to do, especially when they come home, is they try to act like they're not drunk, and I say, "What you drinking?" And they become very focused. They look at you. They get blurry vision, right? They sing 3. So you're fighting with me. And you brought your mother. And she said, what is wrong with you? Say, anyway, so you know the story.
Yeah, no, it's short, man. Now, Carvin, you know what? Regarding this whole Corona thing and COVID-19, right? I know you mentioned you don't get too involved in politics, but I mean, this thing is hitting numbers everywhere. Western Cape's getting obliterated with this thing. Durban, Joburg, all over. What's some of your thoughts on this COVID situation, and what do you think? What do you make of it, basically?
So I run a talk show quite similar to this on my Facebook page every Wednesday. We had an episode last night called COVID Conversations, where I have different guests and I ask them questions. We have doctors, virologists. Last night's conversation was on hairdressers and barbers. Last week was churches going back. And so for the last 2 months, I've been running conversations on it, and I've written quite a few articles on my own about it. What is my thoughts on it? I think it's been devastating. If we must be completely honest, it's been devastating to a lot of families, a lot of businesses. Is there a way back from it? We're all trying to figure it out. I personally, I've been quite. I've tried to stay ahead of the news because it becomes a bit confusing. And I think if anyone has been trying to follow information, your auntie sending you WhatsApps has probably confused you a little bit more with all the remedies and watch out, they're coming for you. And, you know, it's just like, it's conspiracy open season. Yeah. It's open season for conspiracy theories. So I think it's been difficult to find the good from the bad. So that's what I've been trying to do in this period, is bring on professionals who are involved. I had a virologist who spoke a bit about, you know, just understanding how a virus works. Like, what is a virus?
Yeah.
Because, you know, people that start saying, you know, 5G is causing the virus, and then 5G causes, then you say, well, what is a virus? Can 5G actually cause a virus? What is 5G? What is the electromagnetic spectrum? Where does 5G fits on the electromagnetic spectrum versus your microwave? Which is more dangerous here, 5G or your microwave? But just like breaking those things up for people, that's probably been my biggest thrust in bringing, like, you know, good information or credible information to people who follow me, because loads of people follow me are ordinary people, right?
Yeah.
And I was a journalist for a long time. I've got about four Journalist of the Year awards over my career, and so I've done quite a bit of work as a journalist. So I know how easy it is to consume bad information. And I know how many people are consuming bad information. So I thought, you know what, in addition to being a comedian, I do have the skill sets and I have a responsibility to put out good information. So from about, I would say, at the beginning of March, because I was working on a cruise ship when it all happened.
Okay.
And so Africans weren't really monitoring it, right? But I was on a cruise ship, so I was like, "Oh, this is bad," because there was a cruise ship. I think it was the Princess, the one in Japan, which had those cases in 600.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, I was on a cruise ship when that was unfolding. So by the time I got off the cruise ship, I was aware. I was awake to it, and people were still asking, "Oh, is this a real thing?" I was like, "Guys, this is gonna be a real thing." And I put out a video. You know, you talk about these difficult times. I put out a video. I think it was the beginning of March, telling people in what they call the gig economy, people who do freelance work, people who do comedy, people who you waiters. If you work in this economy where you get from day to day, you earn money, you need to start thinking of a new industry, even if in the short term. Think of a new job, think of a new line, because this thing is not going away as quickly as you think. And that was 2 months ago. And I remember speaking to other comics and saying, guys, it's time to change direction quickly. And some of them were like, oh, no, we'll figure it out. Like recently, they've all been saying, hey, bro, we wish you listened to you. We should have applied for jobs and whatever. I was like, well, it's not too late. Still go for it, cuz.
Yeah.
I'm on my last toothpaste.
Thaakir, you can change a box.
Oh, yeah, maybe too. Salam Media will send some through to you for this interview. Thank you so much for the gratitude of toothpaste. Carvin, on that point, you said there's been a lot of conspiracy theories and home remedies that the aunties have been coming up. What was one of the craziest home remedies that you've seen come through on your WhatsApp?
The craziest home remedy that I heard was okay. So this is the problem with the crazy theories, is that a part of them does have like some elements of truth. Those are the dangerous ones. So the ones where they say like drink jik or whatever, like. And the hand sanitizer or the bleach will kill the virus. Like, you kind of know, like, that's silly. But it's the ones where they say, like, go sit in the sun kills the virus. Now, the reason why that's, like, confusing is because getting good vitamin D is actually good for you. And it's good for you in like, your fight against COVID-19. It's good for your, like, for your health. But the sun can't actually like penetrate a virus in your body. So people are laying in the sun thinking that they're killing the virus.
Yeah, that is weird.
Anyway, and plus, if you don't have it, what are you doing? Yeah.
You know, there's
well,
been a lot of these traditional remedies. You know, the old aunties coming out with use the Harlemenses and this and all those
Yeah.
Dutch medicines that would work. Dude, your honest opinion, do you think those things work?
Well, you can't say they don't work until they be tested, right? Because I think, and my partner's a doctor, so I learned firsthand that you don't trust necessarily everything you hear, but you
Yeah.
also don't rule it out. Because there's lots of things that they ruled out, like traditional medicine was ruled out for a long time. Oh, don't trust this medicine they're offering you. And as we develop, I mean, they're talking about cannabis all being used now for medical reasons, which is like a bizarre idea 20 years ago. Yeah, that you can get CBD and cannabis, but now, like, look, now apparently it does have some benefits. So I don't. If someone says use this and that, I'm like, well, you know, I wouldn't use it, but I wouldn't say you're a nutcase.
Hey, it's hectic out there, really. And the way the whole, people, the society have taken on to the COVID situation, and, people have come with conspiracies, as you say, it's open season. But yeah, there's a lot of different talking points. But hey, anyway, Carvin, we thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man.
But before we let you go, leave us with one departing note for the viewers and listeners there before we let you vibe. And, I'm an Indian, so
All right.
yeah, I charge vet.
Cool. To all of you that are out there, to those of you who are listening, all 5 of you, thank you for tuning in. I'm just looking at the live calendar. Okay, there's 4.
No, I'm
One left. I just want to say something before I go.
Yeah.
People have been doing lives in this period. Everyone's going live, every cousin. And, people also, are doing lives because they are entertainers. And a lot of people, it's been harder. It's been tough watching people perform online to 3 people and asking to write in the comments, where are you coming from? Write in the comments. I'm like, there's 3 people. They're probably all in the same house. So I just want to say something before I go. So everyone who's out there, and if you are in the situation, be optimistic. I've been trying to be as innovative as possible, because 2 things can happen in this moment. One is you can become overwhelmed by the situation you're facing, and you're not alone. The situation you're in is not of your own making. You can, in this moment, look at everything and say, this is not my fault. We are all in the situation. So don't become overwhelmed by it, because there's 2 options. 1, you become overwhelmed, or 2, you use that anxiety and that uncertainty as fuel to give you new ideas. You have to use this moment. A lot of great things come out of moments, great depressions, when the world goes through these slumps and these pandemics, after world wars. Beautiful industries that we have today. In fact, my partner's telling me Walt Disney, Disney was started, I think it was in the Great Depression. So in these down moments, when you're forced to think out of the box, don't lose the opportunity, because you might create something that you wouldn't have created if this never came, that will last for many, many years to come. It's a blessing and it's a curse, and you have the power to make it more of a blessing than a curse by the way you channel the energy that comes out of it. Because there is this energy that's saying to people, be depressed, be down, I can't believe my world has collapsed. And equally, there's an energy that's saying to people, guys, let's get busy, let's do something, let's make masks, let's make sanitizer, or whatever the case is, but let's do something.
You had to go there.
Yo, bro, let me tell you something. I got added to a group in Johannesburg, a Muslim businessman, with this plan for masks and hand sanitizers. And let me tell you, I was added to this group way back in March, before they knew that this was going to be a thing throughout the country. The Muslim house in Joburg were on it. They were like, "There's business coming, guys." And they added me to the group. And so I watched the whole process. Now, your business is flourishing. They got masks distributing all over. And for me, I was like, yo, you guys saw this way before everyone else. But that's the sort of thing, right? See the energy early on and act.
Yeah, no, lovely, man. Carvin, thank you so much for your time, my man. And we'll chat, my man. You have a lekker
You guys
evening, a
enjoy.
lovely weekend. Stay safe, man. Stay safe. Lovely.
Okay,
We
take
really
care, my
enjoy your
brother.
time here. Thank you, man. Cheers, eh?
Cheers.
That's comedian there, Carvin Goldstone from Durban, who took the time to talk to us tonight on the show. Wow, can you believe it? 20 minutes after 10 p.m. And that's where we leave the show tonight. Alhamdulillah. So many guests that have come on the show tonight. And yeah, it's been great hosting you. So from me, Sarfaraaz, Thaakir, and the rest of my team here until next week, same time, same place. Have a lekker weekend and look after yourself. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Bye-bye.